Hello everyone. So today we will start Linux tutorials. So we call it Linux or Linux, right? So before starting Linux, we can say what is operating system first. So operating system is basically a low-level software that supports computers' basic functions like scheduling and controlling peripherals. So, so what it means, for example, on the computer, whatever the work we are doing, say an example, we are inputting by typing something through the keyboard, and the data get processed, and applications are running. You are getting the response on the screen back, and there are different tasks which are running behind the scene which we as a end user we cannot see that. So this all things are done by the operating system. So operating system is basically a software which provides the communication between the hardware and the software. So operating system has a component or which is called the kernel. So the kernel is the core of operating system which does this activity. So kernel is basically a computer program, and it is the core of operating system, and the complete it basically it has a complete control over the system. So say an example, if you are running an application like MS Word, Excel, or any other application, custom application. So that application basically contact with the kernel, and kernel further contact to the uh, CPU, memory, or other devices, and their responses which comes through the CPU or memory or devices that goes back to the kernel, and kernel communicates back to the application. So this is important concept before starting the Linux. Now, what is Linux? So Linux is an operating system. As we discussed, that operating system is a software, right, which communicates between the application and the hardware. And why Linux? Linux is basically invented by Linus. There was a student in 1991 who was, working on or who was studying Minix uh, operating system. Minix operating system is the Unix educational version uh, operating system, and he was not much happy with its kernel, so he decided to create a kernel for its own, and he did that, and he uh, created that kernel and he named it as a Linux. So he started this activity or this initiative by finding the other people. He did not develop it alone. He took the help of the other peoples. So at that time there was a social media called Usenet. So he took the help from the other people from that social media, and means those who were interested in developing this kernel. So he started this initiative, and in the end, he developed a very beautiful or very useful operating system, which is called Linux. It is an open source. So what is open source? Open source is something which is, whose code is available online. Anybody can see the open source code. So from the day one, it is open source, and it is uh, well fitted for the GNU. What is GNU? GNU is basically we call it GNU not Unix. Okay, so GNU is basically the part of the Free Software Foundation, which creates the free operating system for the better experience. So it became the part of that, and the licensing of the Linux was GPL. So during that time it was the GNU public license, but now it is general public license. So it is free totally, right? You need not to pay anything for the Linux operating system. So but there are some enterprise levels like Red Hat enterprise level uh, distributions where they support where they support operating system on enterprise level. So they charge it for it and they provide their logos and all this. So that is why they are chargeable. Otherwise, the basic Linux operating system is free of cost. You have not, you can download it from the different websites. Okay, so in the entire tutorial, we are not discussing how to install Linux and all this. We will more concentrate as a developer or the developer point of view. Means in this complete tutorials, we will see what are the different commands are there, how to write the shell scripts and all this. So as it is an operating system and which is open source, so a lot of companies they started developing their own Linux operating system, and there are hundreds of companies they are making the operating system, Linux operating system. So some of the uh, popular one is Ubuntu, Fedora, SUSE, Red Hat, and CentOS. So we in our future tutorial we will discuss the operating system CentOS. The reason is it is very much similar to Red Hat enterprise level. This is the community version. So some Red Hat community peoples they have developed it and it is very stable one and it is free of cost available. So if you are using any virtual machine, I will use Oracle virtual machine for this. So there I will use CentOS operating system, or I can show it to you. So if you see, it will be something like this, where it's a GUI version, but most of the time we will work on CLI. So CLI is very powerful. The reason why I opted the CLI because CLI is very powerful. There are a lot of things which you can do it in the CLI. Linux is basically meant for the CLI purpose. So we study the commands, and with that commands we can see that how Linux is controlling the complete operating system using commands. That's it for now. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Thank you very much.